ladies and gentlemen. There comes a moment in life when we have to pause, step back, and take a hard look at where we are. That's not weakness, it's wisdom. Sometimes life will weigh you down with distractions, failures, and setbacks, and you find yourself off course, caught up in a cycle that's taking you further away from your purpose. That's when it's time to reset. Resetting isn't about erasing who you are. It's about reconnecting with the best version of yourself. It's about silencing the noise around you and tuning into the voice inside you, the voice that knows where you're supposed to go. Yes. Let me tell you this, you're not defined by your mistakes. You're not defined by the times you fell short. Those are just chapters in your story, not the final sentence. But here's the catch, those chapters don't rewrite themselves. You've got to pick up the pen. You've got to decide to turn the page. Resetting means cutting out what's toxic in your life. That might be people. That might be habits. That might be your own doubts. It's not easy to let go of what's familiar, even when you know it's holding you back. But you weren't put here to settle. You were put here to soar. Take a moment to breathe, reflect. Ask yourself what matters most to me. What have I been neglecting? And what do I need to do differently to step into the person I know I can be? Resetting isn't about perfection, it's about direction. And when you reset, don't rush, take your time. Build yourself brick by brick. Discipline over shortcuts. Purpose over pressure. Every step matters. And remember, the reset is not just for you, it's for everyone you touch, everyone who looks up to you, and everyone whose life you will change because you dared to change your own. So tonight, I challenge you to reset your mind, reset your heart, reset your focus. It's not too late. It's never too late. The next chapter of your story is waiting, but it won't write itself. You've got the power to reset and restart, to rise and to win. This is your moment. Own IT. There comes a point in everyone's journey when life feels like it's moving too fast, spinning out of control, or simply heading in a direction that doesn't feel right. It might be a subtle whisper at the back of your mind, a nagging sense of unease, or a moment when everything seems to come crashing down. Whatever form it takes, recognizing when it's time to reset is one of the most important acts of self-awareness you can embrace. Yet it's often the hardest thing to do. Why? Because we're conditioned to keep going, to push through discomfort, and to equate stopping with failure. But the truth is, knowing when to pause and reassess is not a sign of weakness, it's the ultimate form of strength and clarity. Life is full of distractions. Every day we're bombarded with responsibilities, expectations, and noise. Deadlines pile up, relationships demand attention. And the pressure to succeed weighs heavily on our shoulders. In the midst of all this, it's easy to lose sight of who you are and what you truly want. Days blur into weeks and weeks into months until you wake up one morning and realize you're not where you thought you'd be. Maybe you're chasing goals that no longer inspire you. Maybe you're holding on to something, an idea, a relationship, a job that has outlived its purpose in your life. Or maybe you're just running on autopilot, going through the motions without ever stopping to ask yourself, is this still right for me? Recognizing when it's time to reset begins with honesty. It requires you to step outside of the busyness of life and take a hard look at where you are. That's not always easy. We've all become experts at convincing ourselves that everything is fine, even when deep down we know it isn't. We tell ourselves we're just tired, that this is temporary, that things will get better if we just keep pushing. And sometimes that's true. But other times it's not exhaustion you're feeling, it's misalignment. It's your inner voice trying to tell you that something needs to change. Pay attention to the signs. Maybe you feel drained, like you're constantly running on empty no matter how much rest you get. Maybe you've lost the excitement and passion you once had for the things that used to bring you joy. It's perhaps you're feeling stuck, unable to move forward even though you're putting in the effort. These feelings are not random. They're signals a way for your mind and body to alert you that something isn't working. Ignoring them doesn't make them go away, it only makes them louder over time. It's easy to brush these feelings aside and blame external circumstances, the job, the people around you, the timing. But the truth is, the answer is almost always within. Recognizing the need to reset means taking responsibility for your own happiness and fulfillment. It means admitting that the current path isn't serving you no matter how comfortable or familiar it might be. And that's hard because change is uncomfortable. It's easier to keep going, to stick to what you know, even when you're not happy. But here's the thing, life will keep giving you the same lessons until you're ready to learn them. If you ignore the signs, they'll show up again and again, often in bigger and more disruptive ways. That's why recognizing when it's time to reset isn't just about avoiding burnout or disappointment, it's about listening to yourself before life forces you to. It's about catching the small whispers of discontent before they turn into a full-blown storm. The process of recognizing the need for a reset also involves giving yourself permission to pause. In a world that glorifies hustle and productivity, stepping back can feel like failure, but it's not. Taking time to reflect, reassess, and recalibrate is one of the most productive things you can do for yourself. It's a way of honoring your journey and ensuring that you're moving forward with intention, not just inertia. You can't pour from an empty cup, and you can't reach your full potential if you're stuck in a cycle that's draining you. Pausing isn't giving up, it's gearing up for what's next. Sometimes the need to reset becomes clear through external events, a loss, a failure, or a sudden change that shakes you to your core. But more often it's an internal realization, a quiet knowing that something needs to shift. Trust that feeling. Trust yourself enough to acknowledge it, even if you don't yet know what the next step looks like. Recognizing the need to reset doesn't mean you have all the answers, it simply means you're ready to start asking the right questions. Where am I? What do I? What's holding me back? These questions are the foundation of any meaningful change, and they can only be asked when you allow yourself the space to stop and reflect. You are not meant to stay the same forever. Growth requires change, and change often requires letting go of old habits, old mindsets, even old dreams. Recognizing when it's time to reset is the first step in that process. It's a way of telling yourself, I deserve better, and I'm willing to do the work to create it. It's not easy, but it's worth it, because on the other side of that reset is clarity, purpose, and a renewed sense of who you are and what you're capable of becoming. Life has a way of pulling us in 100 different directions, leaving us disconnected from what truly matters. The daily grind, responsibilities, and external expectations often overshadow the inner voice that once guided us. Reconnecting with your purpose is not about finding something new, it's about rediscovering what has always been within you. It's about peeling back the layers of noise and distractions to uncover the essence of who you are and why you're here. That connection to purpose is what gives life its richness, its meaning, and its energy. We are all born with a spark, an innate sense of curiosity, passion, and drive. But as we grow, that spark can become dimmed by the pressures of life. Somewhere along the way, we start chasing things that don't truly fulfill us. We prioritize what's expected over what we desire, and we measure success by standards that don't resonate with our souls. Over time, the gap between who we are and who we think we need to be widens, leaving us feeling lost, unfulfilled, or stuck. That's when it becomes clear that we need to reconnect with our purpose. Reconnecting with your purpose starts with reflection. It requires you to slow down and ask yourself some honest, sometimes uncomfortable questions. What drives you? What brings you joy? What makes you feel alive? These aren't questions you answer quickly. They take time, patience, and a willingness to dig deep. And here's the thing, the answers may not always be what you expect. They might challenge the life you've built, the choices you've made, and the path you're currently on. But that's okay. Purpose is not about living a perfect life, it's about living an authentic one. One of the biggest barriers to reconnecting with your purpose is fear. Fear of change, fear of failure, fear of stepping into the unknown. It's easier to stick with what's familiar, even if it doesn't fulfill you, than to venture into uncharted territory. But staying in a place that doesn't align with your purpose is like living in a house without windows safe but suffocating. Reconnecting with your purpose requires courage. It requires you to acknowledge that where you are now is not where you're meant to stay, and to take that first step towards something greater. Purpose is deeply personal. It's not about what society says you should do or what others expect of you. It's about aligning your life with your values, passions, and strengths. It's about doing the things that light you up, not for recognition or reward, but because they feel right in your soul. When you're connected to your purpose, even the hard days have meaning. You're not just going through the motions, you're building something that matters, something that reflects who you truly are. Sometimes reconnecting with your purpose means letting go of what no longer serves you. That might be a job that pays well but drains your spirit, a relationship that holds you back, or a belief system that limits your potential. Letting go is never easy, but it's necessary. You can't move forward if you're clinging to the past. And here's the truth: when you let go of what isn't meant for you, you create space for what is. You open yourself up to new opportunities, new possibilities, and new ways of being. Purpose is not something you find once and hold on to forever. It evolves as you do. The purpose you had at 20 may not be the purpose you have at 40, and that's okay. What's important is staying connected to yourself, listening to your inner voice, and being willing to adjust as you grow. Life is not a straight line, it's a journey with twists, turns, and detours. Reconnecting with your purpose is about staying true to that journey, even when it takes you in unexpected directions. It's also important to understand that purpose doesn't have to be grand or world-changing. You don't need to cure diseases, build empires, or make headlines to live a purposeful life. Purpose can be found in the smallest of things: raising a family, creating art, helping a neighbor, or simply being a source of kindness in the world. What matters is that your purpose is yours and that it brings you a sense of fulfillment and peace. Connecting with your purpose isn't something that happens overnight. It's a process, a series of small steps that bring you closer to the person you're meant to be. It requires patience, self-compassion, and a willingness to embrace the unknown. But the rewards are immeasurable. When you're connected to your purpose, life feels lighter, fuller, and more meaningful. You wake up with a sense of direction and go to bed with a sense of gratitude, as you become not just a participant in life, but an active creator of it. Yes. At its core, reconnecting with your purpose is about coming home to yourself. It's about stripping away the noise, the doubts, and the distractions to reveal the truth of who you are. It's about living a life that feels authentic, intentional, and aligned. And in doing so, you not only transform your own life, you inspire others to do the same. Mistakes are an inevitable part of life. No matter how carefully we plan, how diligently we work, or how much we try to avoid them, we will stumble, fall short, and sometimes fail spectacularly. That's part of being human. Yet for many, mistakes become more than just moments of learning. They become burdens we carry, weights that drag us down, and labels we assign to ourselves. The key to moving forward in life is not to avoid mistakes entirely, but to ensure that they don't define who we are or what we're capable of achieving. When you make a mistake, the immediate instinct is often to dwell on it. You replay it over and over in your mind, questioning what you could have done differently. That replay becomes a loop, and before you know it, you're no longer just analyzing the mistake, you're letting it define you. It becomes part of your identity, a narrative you tell yourself: I'm not good enough, I always mess up, or I'll never get it right. This kind of thinking is not only harmful, but also untrue. A mistake is a single moment in time. It's an event, not a definition of your worth or potential. The truth is, mistakes are teachers. They hold valuable lessons if we're willing to look beyond the surface. Every mistake carries within it an opportunity for growth, a chance to learn something new about yourself, your choices, or the situation you were in. But to see those lessons, you have to shift your perspective. Instead of asking, why did this happen to me, ask, what can I learn from this? That simple shift can turn a moment of failure into a stepping stone for success. It's also important to recognize that mistakes don't diminish your value. They don't erase your talents, your potential, or the good you've done. Too often, people allow one mistake to overshadow everything else they've accomplished, as if that single moment defines their entire story. But your story is so much bigger than one chapter. You are the sum of your experiences, your efforts, and your resilience, not just your setbacks. It's one of the biggest traps we fall into is the fear of judgment. We worry about what others will think of our mistakes, and in doing so, we give those mistakes even more power over us. But the truth is, everyone makes mistakes. Even the people who seem to have it all figured out have stumbled in ways you may never see. The difference is in how they respond. Instead of letting their mistakes define them, they use them as fuel to become better, stronger, and wiser. Forgiving yourself is a critical part of this process. It's easy to extend compassion to others when they mess up. But when it comes to our own mistakes, we're often our harshest critics. We hold on to guilt and shame as if punishing ourselves will somehow make things right. But it doesn't. All it does is keep you stuck in the past, unable to move forward. Forgiveness isn't about excusing the mistake or pretending it didn't happen. It's about accepting it, learning from it, and letting it go. It's about giving yourself permission to be human. Mistakes can also be a mirror reflecting areas where we need to grow. They can reveal blind spots, challenge our assumptions, and push us out of our comfort zones. If, for example, a professional failure might teach you the importance of preparation, while a personal misstep might show you the value of communication or patience. These lessons aren't always easy to face, but they're necessary for becoming the person you're meant to be. It's worth remembering that some of the greatest successes in history were built on the back of mistakes. Inventors, artists, leaders, none of them got it right the first time. They failed, adjusted, and tried again. What sets them apart is not their ability to avoid mistakes, but their refusal to be defined by them. They understood that mistakes are part of the process, not the end of the journey. When you make a mistake, it's okay to feel disappointed or frustrated. Those emotions are natural. But don't let them take root. Don't let them convince you that you're not capable of bouncing back. Instead, use them as motivation to do better next time. Let them remind you of your resilience and your ability to grow. Mistakes are not roadblocks, they are detours. They might take you off the path you expected, but they can lead you to places you never imagined. They can open doors to new opportunities, new perspectives, and new strengths. What matters most is how you respond. Do you let the mistake keep you down, or do you rise up stronger because of it? In the end, the only real mistake is letting the fear of failure keep you from trying. Life is about taking risks, putting yourself out there, and embracing the possibility of falling short. Because when you do, you're also embracing the possibility of learning, growing, and achieving more than you ever thought possible. You are not your mistakes. You are so much more than that. You are the lessons you've learned, the growth you've embraced, and the courage you've shown to keep moving forward. Letting go of what holds you back is one of the most powerful and transformative acts you can do for yourself, but it's also one of the hardest. We often cling to the familiar, even when it no longer serves us, because it feels safe. The known, no matter how painful or limiting, can feel less frightening than the unknown. Yet, holding on to what weighs you down, whether it's fear, doubt, toxic relationships, or outdated habits, will keep you stuck in the same place, unable to move forward and embrace the life you're meant to live. Letting go isn't about forgetting or pretending something didn't happen. It's about releasing the grip it has on you and choosing freedom over stagnation. The first step in letting go is recognizing what's holding you back. Sometimes it's obvious a bad job, a draining relationship, or a pattern of self-sabotaging behavior. Other times, it's harder to identify. It could be a belief you've carried since childhood, like thinking you're not good enough or that you don't deserve success. It could be fear of failure, rejection, or change. These invisible barriers are often the most damaging because they operate silently in the background, shaping your choices without you even realizing it. Taking the time to reflect and identify these weights is crucial because you can't let go of what you're not aware of. Once you've identified what's holding you back, the next step is to confront it. This can be uncomfortable because it forces you to face truths you might have been avoiding. For example, you might realize that a friendship you've had for years is no longer healthy, or that a goal you've been pursuing is based on someone else's expectations, not your own. Confronting these truths requires honesty and courage. It's not about assigning blame or feeling guilty, it's about taking responsibility for your own happiness and growth. Letting go also means accepting that not everything and everyone is meant to stay in your life forever. People grow, circumstances change, and what once served you may no longer align with who you are or who you're becoming. This is not a reflection of failure or weakness, it's simply a part of life's natural progression. Holding on to something out of a sense of obligation, fear, or nostalgia only keeps you anchored to the past. Letting go doesn't mean you're ungrateful for what was, it means you're making room for what could be. It's one of the biggest challenges in letting go is overcoming fear. Fear is a powerful force that thrives on uncertainty. It whispers, what if you're making the wrong decision? What if you regret this? What if you fail? But fear, more often than not, is a liar. It magnifies the risks and minimizes the rewards, keeping you trapped in a cycle of hesitation. The truth is, letting go is rarely as terrifying as we imagine it to be. It's not easy, but it's often the exact thing you need to create space for growth, healing, and new opportunities. Letting go also requires forgiveness, not just of others, but often of yourself. You might hold on to anger, resentment, or regret, thinking it protects you or gives you control. But those emotions are like heavy chains, keeping you tethered to pain. And forgiveness is not about condoning hurtful behavior or forgetting what happened. It's about freeing yourself from the burden of carrying it. Similarly, forgiving yourself for mistakes or missed opportunities is essential. You are human and you're allowed to get things wrong. What matters is that you learn, grow, and move forward. Sometimes what holds us back is our attachment to an ideal version of how things should be. We cling to a specific vision of success, a perfect relationship, or a timeline we think we should be following. When life doesn't match that picture, we resist accepting reality and end up stuck in frustration or disappointment. Letting go means releasing the need for everything to go according to plan and embracing the unpredictability of life. It means trusting that even when things don't work out the way you hope, they can still lead you to something meaningful. Letting go is a process, not a one-time decision. It requires patience and self-compassion. There will be moments when doubt creeps in, when you're tempted to hold on a little longer, or when you question whether you're doing the right thing. That's normal. The key is to remind yourself why you're letting go in the first place. You're doing it to create space for something better, to lighten your load, and to honor your journey. With every step you take, you're building the strength to move forward. Letting go is an act of self-love. It's a declaration that you deserve more than what is holding you back. It's a commitment to prioritize your growth, happiness, and well-being over comfort or familiarity. Yes. And while it might feel like loss in the moment, it's actually an incredible gain. By letting go, you're not losing, you're making room for the relationships, opportunities, and experiences that align with your true self. You're freeing yourself to explore, evolve, and step into the fullness of your potential. Building something meaningful in life, whether it's a career, a relationship, or a personal goal, is not about rushing to the finish line. It's about taking deliberate steps, one at a time, with care and purpose. In today's fast-paced world, where instant gratification often seems to be the norm, the idea of building slowly and intentionally can feel counterintuitive, but the truth is, anything worth having, anything that truly lasts requires time, effort, and a solid foundation. The most fulfilling achievements are not the result of shortcuts or hurried decisions. They are born from patience, persistence, and a clear sense of direction. When you build slowly, you allow yourself the space to truly understand what you're creating. Rushing often leads to mistakes, oversights, and a lack of clarity about why you're doing what you're doing. Slow, intentional progress gives you the chance to evaluate each step, ensuring that it aligns with your values and long-term vision. It's like constructing a house. If you try to rush the foundation, the entire structure becomes unstable. But when you take the time to lay each brick with care, you create something that can withstand the tests of time. One of the greatest benefits of building slowly is that it allows you to develop skills and grow into the person you need to be to sustain what you're creating. Whether you're pursuing a new career, starting a business, or nurturing a relationship, the process of growth is just as important as the end result. You don't just wake up one day with all the answers or the abilities you need. Those come through experience, effort, and learning along the way. By moving intentionally, you give yourself the chance to grow alongside your goals, becoming stronger and more capable with each step. Intentionality also keeps you focused. In a world full of distractions and competing priorities, it's easy to lose sight of what truly matters. When you're deliberate about your actions, you're more likely to stay aligned with your purpose. Each decision becomes a conscious choice rather than a reaction to external pressures. This clarity not only helps you make better decisions, but also ensures that the energy you're putting into your goals is directed towards something meaningful. You're not just busy for the sake of being busy, you're making progress in a way that feels right to you. Building slowly also allows for adaptability. Life is unpredictable, and even the best laid plans can encounter unexpected challenges. When you're rushing, it's harder to pivot or adjust without feeling like you failed. But when you're moving at a steady, intentional pace, you have the flexibility to reassess and make changes as needed. You can take the time to learn from setbacks, refine your approach, and ensure that you're still heading in the right direction. This adaptability makes the journey not only more effective, but also more resilient. Another important aspect of building slowly and intentionally is the ability to celebrate small victories along the way. When you're fixated on reaching the end goal as quickly as possible, it's easy to overlook the progress you've already made. But when you take things step by step, you give yourself the opportunity to acknowledge and appreciate each milestone. These moments of celebration not only boost your confidence, but also remind you why you started in the first place. They serve as fuel to keep going, even when the road feels long. It's also worth noting that building slowly fosters a deeper sense of gratitude and fulfillment. When you've worked hard for something, when you've poured your heart and soul into it over time, the result feels so much more rewarding. And success might bring a momentary high, but it often lacks the depth and meaning that come from sustained effort. The process of working toward your goals, learning, growing, overcoming obstacles is what makes the achievement truly worthwhile. It's in the journey, not just the destination, that you find lasting satisfaction. However, building slowly doesn't mean dragging your feet or being hesitant. It's not about avoiding risks or delaying progress out of fear. Instead, it's about being mindful and intentional in your actions. It's about moving forward with purpose, knowing that each step you take is a building block for something greater. There's a difference between moving slowly because you're uncertain and moving slowly because you're deliberate. The latter is a powerful way to ensure that what you're creating is both meaningful and sustainable. If in a culture that often glorifies overnight success, it's easy to feel pressured to achieve everything quickly. But most of the stories of lasting success you admire didn't happen overnight. They were built over time through consistent effort, setbacks, and unwavering dedication. Building slowly and intentionally allows you to honor that process. It teaches you patience, resilience, and the value of hard work. It reminds you that the things worth having are rarely easy, but are always worth the effort. When you embrace the idea of building slowly, you also give yourself permission to enjoy the journey. Life isn't just about reaching the finish line, it's about the experiences, lessons, and growth that happen along the way. By moving intentionally, you create space to savor each moment, to reflect on how far you've come, and to feel genuine excitement about where you're headed. What you're building becomes not just a destination, but a part of who you are, a testament to your persistence, vision, and heart. Setting your life is often thought of as a deeply personal journey, and it is. It's about finding clarity, balance, and a renewed sense of purpose. But what many don't realize is that resetting isn't just for your benefit, it also impacts the people around you. When you make the choice to reset, to shed old patterns and step into a more authentic version of yourself, you're not only transforming your life, but also influencing the lives of those who depend on, care about, and interact with you. It's an act of service to yourself and to others because the stronger, healthier, and more focused you creates ripples that reach far beyond your immediate experience. To reset for yourself, you first have to understand your own needs. Life moves quickly, and it's easy to lose sight of who you are in the chaos. Responsibilities pile up, distractions consume your time, and before you know it, you're living on autopilot. So reset gives you the opportunity to pause, reflect, and realign. It allows you to ask important questions. What do I need right now? What brings me joy? What's no longer serving me? These questions aren't selfish, they're essential. When you prioritize your well-being, you create the foundation for everything else in your life. You're better equipped to handle challenges, pursue your goals, and show up for the people who matter to you. Resetting doesn't mean starting over completely. It's not about erasing the past or walking away from your responsibilities. Instead, it's about taking intentional steps to realign with your values and priorities. And for some, that might mean stepping back from toxic environments or reevaluating commitments that no longer fit. For others, it might mean setting boundaries to protect your mental health or finding ways to recharge your energy. These changes, while personal, have a profound effect on the people around you. When you're at your best, you can give your best to your family, your friends, your colleagues, and your community. One of the most significant ways resetting helps others is by setting an example. Whether you realize it or not, people look to you, your children, your coworkers, your friends, and your actions often speak louder than your words. So when you take the time to reset, to prioritize your growth and well-being, you show others that it's okay to do the same. You demonstrate that it's not only possible but necessary to step back, reflect, and make changes when life feels out of balance. This can be incredibly empowering for those around you. They see your courage, your self-awareness, and your commitment to living intentionally, and it inspires them to consider their own needs and goals. Setting for others also means acknowledging how your choices and behavior affect the people in your life. Relationships, for example, thrive when both individuals are emotionally and mentally present. If you've been feeling overwhelmed, stuck, or disconnected, it's likely that those feelings have impacted the way you interact with loved ones. A reset allows you to bring your best self to the table, as it gives you the clarity and energy to communicate more openly, to listen more attentively, and to strengthen the bonds that matter most. It's not about becoming perfect, it's about becoming more intentional in the way you show up for others. There's also a sense of responsibility that comes with resetting for others. If you're a parent, a leader, or someone others rely on, your ability to reset can directly impact their well-being. Children, for instance, learn by observing. If they see you overwhelmed and running on empty, they might internalize that as the norm. But if they see you taking care of yourself, setting boundaries, and making time for what truly matters, they learn the importance of balance and self-respect. Similarly, in a workplace or community setting, your ability to reset and refocus can set the tone for those around you. It creates an environment where others feel encouraged to reflect on their own needs and make positive changes. Resetting also fosters empathy. When you take the time to examine your own challenges, mistakes, and growth, you become more understanding of others. You recognize that everyone is on their own journey, navigating their own struggles. This understanding strengthens your relationships because it allows you to approach others with patience, kindness, and support. You're less likely to judge and more likely to offer a helping hand or a listening ear. In this way, your personal reset becomes a gift to those around you, creating a ripple effect of compassion and connection. At its core, resetting is about creating balance, not just for yourself, but for everyone whose life you touch. It's about recognizing that your energy, your mindset, and your actions have a profound impact on the world around you. When you take the time to reset, you're not only improving your own life, you're also creating a stronger foundation for your relationships, your work, and your contributions to your community. It's a powerful reminder that self-care isn't selfish, it's a necessary part of showing up fully for others. Ultimately, resetting for yourself and others is a cycle of growth and renewal. As you reset, you become more grounded, more present, and more capable of contributing to the lives of those around you. And as you see the positive impact your reset has on others, it reinforces your commitment to living with intention and purpose. This cycle is what makes resetting so transformative. It's not just about changing your life, it's about creating a ripple of change that extends far beyond yourself, touching everyone you encounter and leaving a legacy of strength, compassion, and growth.